So now let's continue with this series where we are talking about CodeStar. Now whatever we have done till now is we simply created a CodeStar project and then pulling it on in Eclipse and then making some changes, right? And the changes which we made is this changing this from congratulations to Telusko. That's what we have changed, and then this very important change which is Naveen Reddy here. But then what if you want to make your own pages and if you want to display those pages? Now, first of all, when you talk about web development, nowadays everyone is using MVC, design pattern. Yeah. Now, we also have a framework using which you can build this application. And one of the framework which is very famous nowadays is Spring framework. Now, there are other frameworks available as well, like we have Sturds. But Spring is getting very famous nowadays because it provides you lots of advanced features. Now, how do we implement MVC or Spring MVC in this project? Now, luckily, this project is already built using Spring framework, Spring MVC to be specific. How do we know that? So, first of all, if you can open this dependencies with libraries, if you say expand Maven dependencies, you can see we have Spring Context, Spring Bean, Spring Code. So, of course, to understand this series, you need to have a Spring knowledge. We're not going to learn about how Spring works or how to make a code work in Spring. For that, I have a different playlist. But then, yes, for the prerequisite for this video would be knowing Spring framework. Now, in Spring, what we have is we have a module called as Spring MVC. Now, using MVC, you make your work very easy, which is Spring MVC. Now, in MVC, what we have is we have a controller, yeah, and then whenever we send a request goes to a controller, and that controller send request to specific. We have a front controller specially, and that front controller will call a specific controller, and that is done by your dispatcher servlet. Now, we don't have to do all those things here. It will be done internally, yeah, because AWS gives you the project structure here. You don't have to do all those configuration. Because if you expand this, you already have configuration files here. So if I expand all these three different packages, you have a application config and MVC config here. Otherwise, if you want to build a project by yourself and do all this thing by yourself, trust me. Okay, I'm not saying it's impossible or it's very difficult to do it, but then yes, you need to do all this configuration. There are different ways of configuration. We can use XML way of configuration, or we can use annotation based configuration, or a Java based configuration. So if you look at this, we are doing configuration here, and then this is Java based configuration. So basically, for everything you need to create one bean. I don't know how comfortable you are with Spring, so I will surely say you have to be comfortable with Spring framework first. Now we have to get multiple beans here. One for especially this one for the internal resource view resolver. Now just to give you a glimpse, whenever you send a request goes to a controller. In this case, the controller is Hello World controller. So when you send a request for slash, example, if you remember, this is the home page, and when you request for slash means the home page itself. You can see it will call the home page. That is this slash. So when you say slash, it will request to, the request will go here, and then you're saying, hey, whenever you get a homepage request, call index page. But then index.what? Index.html, index.jsp, that thing we define inside this configuration. So if I say MVC configuration, here it is. You can see we got a suffix which is .jsp, and the prefix is the path where you have your file, which is in the index.jsp. So if I say main here, and if I expand this main, which is web app, inside web app you have web-inf, inside web-inf we have views. You can see we have index.jsp there, and that's the same path. In web content, you have, in web app you have web-inf, and in web-inf you have views. So you have to specify the path here, which is prefix. If you want to create your own JSP, let's do that here. So I will say right click, and let me create a JSP called as my page. Okay, simple thing. No fancy stuff here because I don't like fancy stuff, unfortunately, because I don't know how to do it. So let's do it. So I will say my page.jsp. So I got my JSP page, and here I will print welcome to my page. Again, you can do whatever you want. You can print some data, or you can do all those things here. But we got a page. And the important thing is not to understand Spring Framework, as I mentioned, but then how do we deploy our own pages? Because deploying on other servers, like if you already know how to deploy on different servers, what we do is we create a WAR file and we deploy it. But here, we don't do that, right? We simply right click and we say commit. So all the things is happening behind the scene. So do we really need to configure something to make it work? Now, first of all, you cannot call a JSP directly. So we need a controller here. And we can create a controller here itself in the hello controller, or we can create a new class for that. But let's do it here itself. I will say model and view. public model and view. I would certainly recommend you to watch my spelling MVC video to understand more. And I will say this is welcome page. So I will say welcome page, and no need to mention the page there, but then we got welcome as a method. And in this, I want an object of model view. So I will say model and view, model and view. Yeah. And then I will say mv equal to new model and view. So I will say control space model and view. And here I will say mv dot, okay, I will say mv dot, in fact, in double quotes itself, I will mention the page name. And the page name for us is my page. Again, we don't have to specify .jsp because we have done the configuration inside MVC config. And that's it, just return mv. So by doing this, when you send a request, hold on, there's something missing. How do I call that my page? So when I say my, so whenever I say slash my, or maybe slash my, it should call my page. Unfortunately, we have not done that yet. You can see that we are getting 404 because we have not done the configuration. How do I mention that whenever you call slash my, it should call that one? So we can do that with the help of request mapping. Using request mapping annotation, we can achieve that. And here we can say slash my. So whenever I request for slash my, it should call, or maybe I will simply say my, so it should call my page. Yeah. Now, will this work? That's a question. Now, how do we verify this? In the last video, we have discussed this. If you want to see the changes, push it on the server, and if it works, that's good. But can you check locally? Because doing testing every time on server will not be a good idea, right? How do you test it locally? So we can simply run this application on a local server. So inside your Eclipse, if you have a Tomcat, that's great. It should work. So just install Tomcat or add Tomcat on your Eclipse and run it on the Tomcat. Let's verify if it's working. And it's taking some time. Okay, it's working. You can see the homepage at least is working. What about my? So if I say slash my, it's working. You can see we got a page which is welcome to page. Yeah. Oh, it should be welcome to my page. I forgot that to type my there. Okay, my bad. Yeah. So you can see I'm printing welcome to my page, and if you make the changes, refresh, and it works. Yeah. But then will it work on the server side? So this is my Firefox browser. Let me just go back to Chrome where I have the deployed one. And of course, it will not work here for one reason, because we have not done the changes, right? We have not pushed the changes. But even before pushing, okay, let me just push this thing and let's see what happens. I will say right click and I will say what? I will say team commit. So I'm pushing this project on the server. I will say AA. Of course, the commit should be proper. Okay, should have a proper commit message. Okay, which files I want to push? Okay, I mean I will push everything. I don't want to check which file I want to send. So I will say commit. It will send all the files now on the server, and hope so it will work. Yeah, you can see it has pushed it on the server, and you can verify that by going to Chrome. I mean your AWS account, and it should say there's a commit called as AA. You can see that we got the commit here. Okay, it will take some time to start with the source build. I mean source update and then build and application. It will take some time. By the time it does all those things, I will go back to my Eclipse, and here if I see one more thing, you can see that we have a builspec.yml. Now a YML is a different type of configuration file. Normally we can use XML or we can use property files, but nowadays people are also using YML. It is more, it's more intuitive, it's more English-like language. So if I open this, of course, it is getting open in my local editor. You can see I'm not able to open that in Eclipse because to open YML, you need a special plugin. So you can download the plugin by going to help and install software. It will work. But unfortunately, in my Eclipse, especially in this workspace, I don't have that plugin. So it is getting open in the external editor. It may be Notepad, it may be some other editor for you. So I'm using Sublime, so it is working here. So you can see there are so many things. This is phases for the build phases. So in build, what should be done? So you can see we are typing all these messages here. Yeah, and then this is the files which is used for building on the server. So you can see it has all the things, the class names which you are working on, then the libraries, the jar files, and the resources. Now if you look closely, here we have a resource which is index.jsp, and nowhere we have my page.jsp. Oh, we forgot to do that, right? We have not updated it, but will it work? So let's verify. So I will go back to my Chrome, and I hope it will be done. Oh, it's still in the source phase. It will take some time. So what I will do, I will just pause the video till that point, and let's see after completing all the steps. Let me show you the output. So now it says, it says all the things are done, source, building, and application. Let's verify. Let's go back here. And first of all, I will open the home page. Home page is working. And that's the first thing you should verify if everything is deployed. And let's say and it's still not working. It says it is able to search it. Okay, that's so step one is done. It is able to search it, but then it's not able to find my page.jsp. That means the controller is working, but your page is not found. You know why? It's very simple. In our Eclipse, we forgot to do one thing, which is we forgot to update the JSP page here. So you need to update that file. So what you will do is you will say enter, and then you will put one more thing, which is, so you have to mention all the pages. Now you might be wondering, this is a tedious task, right? Why you have to mention each and every page? Let's say if you have 1,000 pages, or that's not possible. Let's say if you have 10 pages, will you update for everything? Or what about the JavaScript files? Will you do it for every page? Now we don't have to do that. We don't have to put every page. You can also put star, because the moment you say put star, it will take all the files. It's depend upon you if you want to manually configure it, because sometimes you don't want to upload or push all the files. Sometimes you just want to test some things. You don't want to upload everything on the production server. So we can skip that part here. Yeah, so mentioning everything is not a bad idea. Yeah, so instead of adding star, you can mention all the other stuff. But in case if you know that everything should be pushed, put star, it should work. And the moment I save this file, and again we have to push it, I know it will take some time, but then I don't have a choice. Yeah, I just wanted to show you the error as well. And again, let me just push it. So I will say team commit. Oh, it is not showing any push. I've made the changes, right? If you say save, okay, so it says I have to move that into stage area, and I will say build spec updated. Okay, and now let me just push on commit and push. Again, it will take some time. Yeah, so let me just pause the video till that point. Oh, okay, it is very fast. Let's go back to the server on the site. Okay, so it should say that you have done a new commit, which is build spec updated. Is it? Oh, commit had not received here yet. What's wrong? Maybe my Eclipse is very slow, or the page. Okay, or maybe my internet is very slow. Okay, let's verify. Okay, so you can see we got build spec updated. It is going in a source phase. Again, I will pause the video. I don't want to waste your time here. Okay, so all the stuff is done. So source, build, and application deployed. And let's verify now. So let's say enter, and it should work now, I hope. Yeah, so you can see that we got our page there. So we got our page deployed in the server. And that's how you can add a number of pages, not just one page. You can add multiple pages. So what you have to do now is create multiple pages and make sure that you create a controller as well. You can edit the existing controllers, or you can create your own class. But again, if you are updating your own class, you have to make sure that in Sublime or in your spec.yml file, you mention those changes. Like we have the class files here. You have to make changes here as well. And of course, you can make the changes to your project package as well. You know, the package name is com.aws.codestar. You can rename that. So this is how you work with, you create your own resources or you deploy it on the server. In fact, we will also talk about how do we configure database and how do you interact with Spring and Hibernate with database, and that will be an interesting topic, right? So to know about all those concepts, do subscribe to the channel and do share this video with your friends, and thank you so much for watching.